Oh dear me. Hi everybody.
Hello.
Sorry about the delay. I've had some technical difficulties.
That worried me then.
It's always me at the beginning. I'll tell you in a minute what I did.
Hello everyone.
You know what I'm
Hi
like.
everybody.
Hello.
I'm still cooking out, I'm afraid.
Hi
everyone.
Hi. Gosh.
Sorry everyone, you're going to have to bear with me a minute. Just pressing buttons. Gemma, I can't add you. I don't know how to do it. It's beyond my technical capabilities. Tried pressing things. I don't know.
We're looking at not on there.
You had one.
I'm going to give it a couple of minutes and keep trying to add folk.
I joined a high five.
Oh, let me see who is that? I can't know. Oh, Sue, look at your little. Is that your granddaughter?
It is. This is Francesca.
Oh, Francesca, we've met before, haven't we? I remember.
Last
Naughty boy.
So you have to excuse the nudie Rudy.
Oh, we don't mind Nudie Rudy. We don't mind.
Yeah, good girl.
Olivia.
What have you done?
Bless her. If you've got no sound, Fern, it's your computer. You need to put your volume up because I can hear everybody. There's a lot of noise. Don't worry though, it won't be like this throughout the Zoom.
I don't know how to
We're just getting set up.
Hi, Abby.
Hiya.
Brenda. It's Brenda.
Hiya, Brenda.
It's very noisy, your end.
There's lots happening, isn't there?
hear somebody funny.
Right, I'm going to mute you all for a second and then I can say hello to you all. I don't know how to do it. Oh, and then there was silence. That took me by surprise. That took me by surprise a minute there. Right, I'm leaving up the... No, I'll remove that for a second. Oh, dear me. So I had a technical... I always have technical difficulties at the beginning of Zoom. It's like I forget every month how to function Zoom. And this time, I didn't start this meeting. I just started a new meeting. And I was sat there, like last month when I started this meeting and no one was there, I was sat there thinking, I must have done something because I know that there's only me coming. I know at least Gemma's coming. So I don't know what I pressed. So I had to end that meeting and then I found this meeting. Honestly, it's a wonder I get through the day sometimes. I hope you're all well. There's absolutely stacks of us tonight. If you haven't got your name saved, obviously I don't know what your name is. And your profile pictures on Facebook are tiny. I'd know you by your name, but your profile pictures I struggle with. So the names I can see, we've got Gemma and Karen and other Gemma, my Gemma. Gemma Joy is my Gemma. She doesn't know she's my Gemma, but she's my Gemma. Leslie, Carolyn, Holly, and Tracy, Christine. Oh, Christine Shanahan. I have a funny thing to tell you. Lily was writing your name on a parcel a few days back. And it was your zip pulls, because Lily was in charge of writing the names on the envelopes and then I was doing the labels. And she passed it to me and I said, what have you written there, Lily? And she'd written Christine Shanahan. I said, oh, Lils, I said, it's not quite right, but it'll be fine. So you might see it through the label. It made me chuckle. She added more work than she needed. We've got Leslie and Yvonne, Teresa, Linda, Sue. Oh, and her little granddaughter's departed. She's gone somewhere else now. Joan over in Canada. Hi, Joan. Gita, and we've got Sky and Jane. Next page. We've got Jill and Sarah, Sushila and Karen, Alison, Kay. I don't know. Is it Karen? Or Kirsty? Or Kaz? We'll just pause on that one. I'm thinking of other K's we've got in the group. Kay? No. We've got Debbie.
Kate.
Oh, Kate. God, Kate. I'm so close. I'm thinking of K's. Right, Kate, of course, Kate. We've got my Facebook bestie Debbie rubbing her hands together with glee that she's joined the Zoom. Fern, we've got Karen and Helen, Margaret, Caroline, Sharon, Brenda, Pauline, Carol, Chris, Patricia, Michelle, Marie, Jane, not Bob but Jane, Sharon, Diane, Mandy, Marcia, June, Annette, Sue, Marie, Joe, oh, Maggie P's here, Robbie, Karen, Wendy, another Sue. I think that's, oh no, we're not quite, oh, are we done? No, we're not quite done. Diane, I think we've got June, Karen, Sharon, and I think that's it. Oh, blimey. Right, I'm letting in Laura and Annette. Just let those guys in. So Laura and Annette have just joined us, and Annette's over in Denmark and Laura might be in the field somewhere, because that's where she spends a lot of her time, and that's perfectly fine. Oh, let's let in Margaret.
Thank you.
Okay, let in Margaret. So it takes a little while because we have, obviously, I'm not one to judge about people coming into Zooms late, so I have to just give them a few minutes to join, because it's, you know, we get so used to things, don't we? Like, we get so used to Facebook and how that works, and then you hit with this other bit of technology that you might not use very often, and it just gets a little bit confusing, a bit confusing, and you start the wrong meeting, or a meeting that no one knows even exists, which is what I did. Now, I did email, you may not have seen it, don't tell me off if you didn't see it, sorry about that. I did send out some cutting instructions because I made a second version of the file today and realised that a lot of my time was taken up through cutting. And when I made the first one, I didn't feel like it was, but it clearly it was. But don't panic, because you will receive this recording. I'm going to take the laptop to Mum's, probably Monday. And it's a lot easier now with the kids off. So she's got super duper broadband. So I'm going to try and take the laptop over to Mum's to get the video uploaded ASAP. And then you can stitch along at your convenience. If you want to stitch along with me this evening and you've cut out, then you're welcome to do so. If you're just watching, you're welcome to do so. We very much welcome you. Thanks for coming. Or you can catch up, or, you know, whatever you want to do. It's absolutely fine by me. We've got a group now. Now, I was reluctant to set up a group because I know there's just groups. You don't know where you're coming or going. It's all groups all the time. But I thought, thinking about it, actually it'll be handy, because then I can post the link to this if those of you overseas don't get the box, like Joan never gets her box in time. So it'll be handy to post a link on there. Cutting instructions can go on there, just information. So you can carry on posting your makes in the other groups that you're part of, but I just thought that if we had this group, Avid Crafts Fat Quarter Club information group, then that will be your go-to. So instead of relying on email, which is very hit and miss, if I put everything in there and Gemma puts everything in there, then hopefully there'll be no queries, no one's missed out on anything, it's all there. So obviously it was a bit late, I only set the group up today, a bit late for this month, but from next month you'll have the Zoom info on there, you'll have cutting instructions on there, it should be fairly straightforward. So with that being said, we're making the file.
Sorry, Abby, can I just, did we get last month's Zoom? Did that ever come out? Because I don't think I got the email for that.
Oh, I'll post a link in the group.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'll post a link in the group. One of the things about the group is, obviously we're going to get new members coming for next month, and they're not entitled to access the old videos. So, like for instance, if you're a member of my mum's gold group, you can obviously access all of the videos constantly in there. You won't be able to do that in the Fat Quarter Club group. The link will be deleted. So if you treat the group very much like it's an email, and it's up to you then to save that link, because then at the end of the month I'll have to remove it so that it's fair, because you've paid for it, they haven't. I'm trying my best to think of the ways in which we can, make it fair for everybody. So that, and it'll be the same with the cutting instructions as well. I'll put them up as a file, and if you can download them from there, that'll be fab. Right, file. This is what we're making. The file. It's really cute. I made a second version today, obviously in different fabric, because I don't, I'm not drowning in this fabric. I have one batch to make the project, and then I have another batch to make it with you lot. So I made a Tula version. Now with this version, I used a wadding. Wasn't the right thing to do. We definitely need the Decaville on here, because as you can see, it's a bit more floppy, but it's still, still does the job. I used the rainbow fabric. Still does the job, but it's a bit too, it's a bit too floppy.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, could I ask, could you use Bosal for it? It's Sharon.
I mean, yes, you could. The only problem is, Sharon, is that I'm looking up at the ceiling. That's my thinking face. The only problem you've got is at the sides where we add the concertina layer and we add the folder in the middle here, you're going to have quite a lot of bulk. So yes, you could. I would suggest if you do, then use a walking foot, because you're going to be going through a fair amount of layers. But why don't you make a small version and test it? Let us all know.
Thank you. No, I'll order some, whatever it is you've got on the list.
So for the outer of the bag, I've recommended Decaville Light. Now on the one I made today, for the inner, for the flaps, I used one layer of H250. So on the panel inserts, I've used one layer of H250. I recommend 2 layers of H250 or Decaville, but you only need 1 layer of H250 for the outer. I'll go through it, but it was a bit of trial and error doing this. If you do want to use a wadding for the outer, because I quilted it, that would be great, but what I'd say is use some Decaville Light on the lining fabric, and then you've got that structure there. Just the wadding is not enough, but it's quite tactile. I quite like it, but it's, I can't imagine my A4 paper is going to be very secure in there, whereas it will be in this one. It's fairly sturdy. So we've got, this is the main on the cutting list, if you're confused about it at all, the cutting list, the main panel is the back of the bag and the front of the bag. So this is the main panel. It's Decaville, it's the front, and it's, careful Lily, she's eating her dinner in here and she's scraping the cutlery. And then it's the lining. Now, of course, because you're working with fat quarters, you are going to be using all of the colours, and they're going to be mix and match because you're working with fat quarters. But you could take this pattern and, you know, change it up, like with this one that I've made. If I open it up again, I've got a big yellow lining, and then I've got, you know, I've still gone for different colours because the other side is yellow. So I've not even shied away from doing that. But my concertina is the same colour as the front, which you wouldn't be able to do with the fat quarters. So it's a good pattern to perhaps then use other fabrics with as well. So that's the main panel, the front and the back there. This is the flap section. This is Decaville as well. So it's you know, sits with the same as the main panel. The concertina is the side pieces here. So these are your fabric, your H250, only one layer needed, and then your lining fabric, which I actually got out of the same fabric. I don't know if you can see that, same fabric front and back. And then your panel inserts, which are, the flaps getting in the way. Panel inserts, which are these parts of the file. So you've got a front, a back. I did two of the same. So I did the butterfly, and then I did the orange. So you've got two of those, and then you've got H250. I do recommend 2 layers because otherwise it's a little bit floppy. But, you know, if you like it like that, then do it. But I just think for holding the papers in, probably 2 layers. But there we go. And poppers. You could use poppers, or let's just let Rebecca in. You could use poppers. We're going to put 2. So you've got 2 here, so that it means that when you've got nothing in it, or a small amount of things, it can go like that. And then when you've got more in, you can have it like that. So you've got extra space for your goods. Like Gemma's going to put her hand sewing bits and pieces in there. She'll need to use that top one, I imagine, on her holidays, because she's leaving me for a whole week. Like, it's all going to go downhill. It's going to all go wrong that week. Not that I'm jinxing it already, but I just know it's going to happen. So with that being said, all of that information about the fabric is in the group. Avid Crafts Fat Quarter Club information. It's in there, or I did email it. If you didn't get the email, soz, I don't know why that happens, but just go to the group, and then group from now on. And then all the information will be there, and it'll be brilliant. It'll be streamlined, apart from when Gemma's off. Otherwise, it'll be streamlined. So I know, how could you? Exactly, Gemma. Do you see that? How could you? She actually told me a few weeks ago that she was going away, and I said, you'll have to remind me nearer the time because I will forget. And she reminded me today, and I had forgotten. And I know. In my head, I was going, no, Gemma. But to Gemma, I was going, lovely. Have a lovely time. Crying into my pouch. Right. So I'm going to poke the camera down. We'll just get on and start stitching. This is really straightforward. I promise you it's straightforward. It looks, I don't know, it looks a bit complicated, I suppose, with the concertina bits, but truthfully, it's lovely and straightforward. We'll have a great time stitching. Any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask me. I just ask that if you could please mute yourself again afterwards, because we don't want to hear, I don't know how many of us are in here, but we don't, okay, that's just my phone going a bit, sorry, phone. We've got 62 of us in here. We don't want to hear 62 machines. That's too much. It's too much. So just ask a question by all means, and then I just ask you just to mute yourself again, because you might have a conversation you don't want us to listen to. It's happened, you know. So just, I'll remind you, not in a rude way, but I'll remind you. But other than that, if you're not stitching or you're just here for the natter and the info, then that's absolutely fine as well. Right, I'm going to move my phone now. Oh, it's all go. I tell you what, it's all go, isn't it? Right, okie dokie. I've got a very long green thread poking out there, and I don't know what that's for. Right, I'm just moving my drink as well. There with. Oh, there we are. I think Lily's actually taking the mick a little bit because she ate the dinner that I've cooked, yet it was too late for me to eat mine. Toad in the hole. So she's come in here with hers.
Dad told me to.
Oh, Dad told you to. All right, blame it on Dad. Right. So the first thing I'm going to start to do is fuse on my interface settings because I haven't done that. I didn't ask you to do that. So I'm going to do that and we'll just do it. I'll do it in the order in which I gave you the list. So the main panels, the flap, the concertinas, and then the panel inserts. That'll be okay, won't it? So I'll just turn my iron up because it's not on maximum. I'm going to poke you down. Hold on. Lily, it's not Lily, I can't do it. Sorry, everybody, you have to bear with me. You're on my iPad when we do a Zoom, so it's a very different setup. It's very tricky for me. I just can't understand it. Right, main panels. So today for the main panels, I've gone for the butterfly, lovely, and the orange. Now, I don't know if you saw, hold on, I'm going to grab it. Do you remember I said about the bamboo fabric, the red one? And some people very kindly, excuse me, volunteered to have a replacement because we had an error. Well, this was the replacement. So if you've got that one, you've got that instead of the red. I actually have got more of this, so it will go on the website at some point. It's just finding the time, honestly, just finding the time to just load things on the website. My butterflies are going to be my outer fabric, so I'm going to pop my Decaville on. That doesn't look like it's the right size. No, it is. I'm going to pop my Decaville on the butterflies. Now the butterflies doesn't really look like there's a right or wrong side, but I'm going to give it a press so that we start off with a nice flat surface. There we go. So always put my interfacings on my outer fabric. It truly doesn't matter if you put it on the outer fabric or the lining fabric. It's still the same bit of interfacing between the two layers. But I just pop it on my outer fabric just out of habit, I suppose. But if you prefer to put it in the lining fabric, then by all means do that. So it should sit 1/4 of an inch in from the outside edge. So I'm just going to actually make a point of really pressing this on, because every time I do a live or a Zoom with Decaville, I rush it and then it falls off when I'm trying to turn it through, which is just the worst, isn't it? I don't know if Rhonda's here tonight, but I have a shout out to Rhonda this evening because I like to fill this part with anecdotes because I'm just pressing. I am obsessed with autumn candles, right? Like it's a problem. And I like Bath and Body Works candles. Now we can't get them in the UK. We don't have Bath and Body Works, and they don't ship to the UK. So I messaged Rhonda to ask her if I could place a Bath and Body Works order, get it shipped to her house, and she would send it to me. Yes, she said. So I had a look on the website and I put 2 candles in my basket. Then I got distracted dealing with Seb and the paddling pool and whatever. Actually, it was lovely. He was having a lovely time. I then went back to my Bath and Body Works basket and they had updated an offer on the website, buy 2, get 2 free. I couldn't believe it. So I put another 2 in my basket and I saved myself $44. Yes, what a day, what a day. So I was going to tell Rhonda that I'm very grateful, and hopefully if she's not here, she'll be watching on the recording. I did thank her obviously on the message, but it's nice to make it publicly known how wonderful somebody is. Right, there we go. Boring, look at that. Oh, it's so exciting. Welcome to my Zoom of plain interfacing. Right, so that's the outer. I'm not adhering this on, but I'm just giving the lining piece a press because it's obviously been folded, and it's nice to just give it a press. So we're starting with nice flat fabric, and I've just repeated that. It's like a mantra. Right, I'll pop that to one side. So putting all my interfacings on first before I do any stitching. So this is my flat piece. Now I really like having a contrast. So I've gone with the blue because that will sit then over my butterflies, and I thought that looked fair. I thought that looked really nice. Or you could have the orange on the outside and have the blue on the front. I mean, both are just equally gorgeous, aren't they? So this is the flat piece. Now you're thinking I know what you're thinking. Why not have that all as one piece? Because the fat quarter is not big enough. So I did it like this so that you could do that as much as possible in the main fabric and then do a small bit for the flap. So that was my thinking behind that. And I'm going with it. Obviously, if you go on to make this with larger pieces of fabric that you might well want to do it coordinating to your craft room, or a gift for a teenager that needs to file their stuff away, you could do this piece in the same fabric and have it connected on. So that's that piece. I've used the same fabric for lining and outer for that. And then my concertina pieces, exactly the same as the other one. I've got two, the front and back for each side out of the same fabric. So that works out really nicely, I think. Just give that a press. And this one. I thought I was going to be late because I was booking I keep saying to the kids, right, I want ideas for some holidays, days out, what can we do? And they're all absolutely useless and they haven't given me any ideas. So I went on, well, it was on Facebook, Horrible Thames. That's what it's called, Horrible Thames. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Horrible History books. Seb's obsessed with them. He's got them all, and he absolutely loves them because they're all full of gore and guts and gladiators and all that sort of stuff. So it's Horrible History. It's called Terrible Thames, I think it's called, and it's from the Horrible Histories people, and it's a riverboat cruise on the Thames. It's only for 45 minutes, but they take you round the Thames and you can see all the sights, and they tell you all sorts of gruesome things about each location. So I was literally booking that before I was coming in here, and then I was trying to find and then I thought, well, I need to book a car park because David won't take the train. So I had to book a car park, and there was no reason why I had to do it there and then, but for some reason I felt like I absolutely had to. So I did think I was going to be late for that, but no, in the end it was just my stupidity. Right, so that's the concertina pieces, and then the flat pieces, I've got my Decaville for those, or your 2 layers of H250, whatever you want. I will pop my blue, bear with me one moment. There we go. So again, I'm pressing these. Giving them a knife, but I love these so much. I think this would be gorgeous, like you could applique fish on it and then put some PVC over the top and it could look like a seascape. I think that would be gorgeous. Right, pop this on here. Now, of course, you can, this is rubbish, I've cut this really badly. Of course, you can use interfacing that's the same size as your fabric. The reason why I always pretty much have mine 1/4 inch smaller is because it's a lot easier for me to A, follow the 1/4 inch mark, and B, it can be too much in the seam, so that when you turn it through, actually what happens is the Decaville pokes up one side of the seam, and you can't actually get a lovely a seam that sits as it should level. That can be very frustrating. So I cut it 1/4 inch smaller, and then you don't have any of that problem. So that's that bit. I mean, that's fairly on-ish. So that's one flap with that bamboo fabric. I'll give that a press in a second. And then the second. Some of the blue, when I was cutting it, some had really, really deep purple patches, which were gorgeous. And then some had really light blue areas. And because it's all done by hand, it was every single person's piece of the blue and the orange, well, all of them actually will be completely different, which I think is amazing, really. I was talking to Mum about dyeing some fabric, and because I tried doing batik fabric myself, only a small bit obviously, and you use wax and you put so you'll dye your fabric and then you actually put wax on in the pattern in which you want it, so like the butterflies or spots or whatever, and then you dye the fabric again, and then you soak the fabric in hot water so the wax disappears and leaves behind the first layer of dye. It's incredibly interesting. I just think, blimey, they must go through so much. It must be such a long process when you get all of the ones that have got so many different colours on, and you know, bits of pattern here and there. It must be, just think it must be amazing to sit and watch, or do even. I mean, I'm not sure I would do. I'm more of a watcher of that, I think. Right, so I've popped all my interfacing on. Now I've got to take it all off the machine that I was just laying it on. And I'm going to move my mat. Ooh. There we go. Yes.
Can I just ask, what temperature do you have your iron on when you're using it with the Decaville? I have trouble getting mine to stick.
I have it on full blown hot.
Oh, okay.
Now, this Prim iron gets proper hot on this level here. So I do try my best to keep my hands quite far away from this edge, because even though this is the top, it gets really hot. So yeah, really hot. And also Decaville, you do have to, you know, leave it for a fair while. Like, it's better to use your big iron and add some steam on, because it will stick a lot quicker. But yeah, hot.
Okay. All right, thanks.
You're very welcome. Hot, hot, hot it needs to be. Right, we are going to stitch these now. Let me bring my machine in. It's backwards. Is it backwards for you? Or is it the right way around? Let me show you some words. Let me show you some words. Is that the right way round for you? Oh, it is. Isn't that funny? Because on my view, it's the wrong way round. I was going to say my machine's the wrong way around, but it's not. Turn it on. So we'll start with the flat, nice small piece. So this is the flat piece. We're going to pop now, of course it's batik, so it really doesn't matter which way around it goes. We're going to pop them right sides together, our two pieces. We're going to stitch 3 edges. So we're going to stitch the 2 short edges, 1/4 inch, and we're going to stitch one of the long edges only. Okay, so 2 short edges and the long edge. And I recommend you do it this way up so you can use your Decaville as your guide, and then it's a lot easier. Of course, if you've got a foot, 1/4 inch foot, then by all means use that. But sometimes it's just nice and easy to use that as a guide. So let's move this back in. Oh, I don't know if I can zoom. Oh, sorry, I pressed something. I don't know. I don't know that went for you. I don't think I can zoom in on Zoom. No, I can't zoom in on Zoom. Here we go. Right, so I'm going to stitch the short edge first. Just my normal stitch length. I'll just probably go a bit slower. I pressed something and now I can't see any of you. There we go. So that's one end, and then I always do the other end. So I do my 2 ends first. Make sure they're lined up. I mean, some seriously dodgy cutting, but 2 ends. I'm just following the line of that interfacing. And then I'll do one of the long sides. I've just got to sort my bobbin out. It's not stitching overly well, so I know it's my bobbin. So let's see if that's any better. Try that. Oh yeah, that's better. Much better. Just move this. There we go. Pushing my foot pedal away from me. I should make a little, you know, like a little pad for it, really, because I do end up stretching like I'm doing the splits, trying to press my foot down. Right, back to the matter in hand. I've stitched one long edge, I've stitched the two short edge. I'm then going to leave it, put it to one side, forget about it for a minute. We'll move on to the flat pieces. Now the flat pieces, we're going to pop the fabric right sides together, like so. And I will pin this one because it's bigger fabric. We are going to stitch around all four edges, but in one of the long edges, we are going to leave a gap for turning. You are going to want to leave at least 4 inches to turn this through. So 1/4 inch, oh, I'll just do it the other way. 1/4 inch all the way around the outside, then one of the long sides, you want to leave a gap to turn it through. So I'll just pin it again. I flipped it over so my decaville's at the top. So I was pinning it and they would be on the base of the machine, which just will interfere with me. So I've just flipped it round and I'll just pin the other one while I'm here. I'm going to do it again, aren't I? There we go, right side, right side. And it's the same with the second one, exactly the same. Stitch around all 4 sides, but leave a gap in one long edge to turn.
Sorry, Abby, which pieces are these?
These are, sorry, I keep saying flap, don't I? I know I keep saying flap. These are the panel inserts.
Thank you.
Sorry, I know I keep saying flaps for these. I don't know why, but these are the panel inserts. So we will stitch these. Again, I'm going to start at my short edges. That's just personal preference. You can go round if you like in a square shape. I'm going to write on it because I know I'm going to do it again. I'm going to use my pen that Sky gave me. Look at that. Isn't that just the best pen you've ever seen? Panel. Panel. I'm going to say it again, so I'll just write it on. There we go. I love that everyone's tagging me in rainbow things now. That just makes my day. I just love it so much. I saw something. What did I? Oh, the kids were arguing over goggles earlier, you know, as you do. And I found these goggles on Amazon, and the actual plastic front, you know, the eye hole bit, whatever it's called, is rainbow effect. So I ordered them. So it's like one of them will wear them. Because apparently, well, they've all got goggles, but Seb's goggles, apparently the eye holes are too small. So he was trying to have Lily's goggles. Oh, you know, she hid her goggles so he couldn't have the goggles. Hey?
Maybe.
Yes, you not maybe, you definitely did. You came in here with goggles. Right, a little back stitch there. This is where I'm going to leave my gap for turning. I'm doing it on the first long straight edge so that I don't forget. Doesn't matter if you forget, you can always just unpick it. But oftentimes I'll do it on the first edge so that I don't forget. But again, I do forget fairly often. I said to Gemma earlier, now I know we've had this conversation already, but XYZ, but I can't remember talking to you about it. but I know we've spoken about it. And she replied with, no, we haven't spoken about it. I know, right, well, I'm just losing the plot then completely. I had a dream last night. My dreams are so vivid. I had a dream last night that for some reason, I don't know, for some reason, I was invited into what can only be described as the Bat Cave, but it was full of designer handbags. And I was allowed to choose the designer handbags I wanted. I mean, you know, and I knew exactly which one I wanted as well. And I chose it and it was fabulous. But I mean, so random. Right, that's the first panel done. Again, I'm going to pop that to one side and forget about it for a minute and then go on to the second one. So this is what? Yes, panel inserts, that is right. Thought I was saying it wrong again. So I'm just going to move my pins because I don't put them in a very good place at all. There we go. So I'm going to start at one short end. I don't know how I've cut this, honestly. Right, I'm just going to take my pins out and start again. I've gone off on a bit of a wonk. There we go. Right, so let's just line that up a bit better. Yes, that's nearly better. There we go. That'll do. That'll do. Oh, she says as she completely then moves it again. I'll be honest with you, this soon sort of crept up on me. It was only a couple of days ago. I thought, oh, blimey, it's a Zoom this Friday. I think this month's just absolutely flying by. Although today's been really slow. I was in here earlier and I said, Lily, what was the time? And she said it was 2 o'clock. And I said to her, how is it 2 o'clock? We had lunch ages ago. Did we have an early lunch? She said, you gave us lunch at 11:30. I said, did I? All right, well, there we go. That'll be why I feel like the days, you know, I've got more hours in the day. I don't really know what happened there. I imagine Jacob was asking me for food, and so I assumed it must have been lunchtime.
You went to Iceland, just when you came back, you just dished out for lunch.
Oh, I don't know. See? Oh dear. All kids are happy kids.
Yeah, true.
That's all I've got to say about that. Hey, oh, you're off now, are you?
Huh?
You're off now, are you? You're leaving?
No.
You're leaving me?
No.
Are you going to get a tissue?
Yes.
I thought so. She's made a bit of a mess of herself. Her face. Oh, she gone. She gone. Well, she's gone. What she doesn't know is that we're going to Harry Potter World on Sunday. I've rebooked it for her birthday because you may or may not know it was cancelled. Well, I've rebooked it for Sunday. She does not know, and I'm not going to tell her. I'm going to tell her that we're going to go and choose a new car for Dad, and that she hates looking at cars, hates the thought of looking at cars. So I'm going to tell her that's where we're going, and end up at Harry Potter. Yes. Shh, don't tell anyone. Shh, don't tell. I'm very excited about it. Right, this is my long edge. I'm leaving a gap for turning. Oh, I didn't do a back stitch there. That'll be fine. So you can see basically it's the same for all of the pieces, that this is how we're putting them together, and then we join it as if they were panels of paper, really. And that's where I got the inspiration from. You may or may not have seen the other day when I was talking about, I was looking at origami and seeing if I can, you know, sort of bring in some new ways of using fabric like paper, because I do think that origami is really quite amazing. And then I thought, well, wouldn't that be interesting to try and make a file as if we were working with card, and that's why each piece is individually stitched and each piece is, you know, folded through, and then we can, you know, close the gap and whatever, and then you're left with essentially what would be pieces of paper. So we've got the flap, we've got the 2 panels. I'll move on to the concertina sides now, exactly the same again. So right sides together, and make sure one is 1/4 inch, one side, one edge, speak words, one edge, I believe it's 1/4 inch longer than the other side. Yes, so just make sure you've got the right side lined up, and you want to leave your gap for turning in the edge that is 8 1/4 inches. So I'm going to just lay this on my mat. Mine is that edge. So on one of the edges that's 8 1/4 inches. So that for me is this edge, and I'm going to do that one first. Right stitch. Scooch along about 3 inches. Go. Lay that all flat. You can see my pieces, they're almost like this. And, dear. Right, other side. Look at that. That's how my pieces have lined up. Oh dear. I'll always show you when I'm not quite right. Right, let's stitch this side now. Dear me. I think it's genetic though, because Mum does it all the time, so maybe it's our eyes. Right, now just the 2 other sides. I won't speed up because stitching along with me, then I don't want to go too fast. Okay, my iron is still on. I'm just going to turn my iron right down even more. There we go. And I must confess to you, I've got these next to me, minstrels. I haven't had a minstrel for years, and I saw them today in Asda, and I thought to myself, today's the day. Today's the day for minstrels. Right. There's that one. I'll pop that in my pile of pieces. And then my second concertina piece. Right side up. Now I do have to trim. I do actually have to trim this piece, because this piece actually is pretty embarrassing of how wonky it actually is. So I'll just trim this one. This is very interesting. So it doesn't look much on the screen, but it definitely looks an impressive piece in front of me. Right. Oh no, that was right. Oh my days.
Sorry. Frightened. Sorry.
No, you're fine. That happens every time. I just get in the, like, because I think when I'm doing a Facebook Live, I don't hear voices.
Sorry.
Go, you go for it.
I was wondering, why are you not pivoting in, leaving your needle down on the corners and pivoting on the corners?
I'll tell you why. So when I do one side, I then always go to the other side, because in case I move anything, I prefer to do one edge and then flatten it down and then do the other edge. And then these edges are nice and flat and I can just whiz through them. You can totally just pivot around the corners and go around the outside. 100% you can. I just prefer, I don't know why, I don't know why, I just prefer to do that.
Okie dokie. Okay, thank you.
You can,
Sorry, I frightened you.
no, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. You can pay for the therapy. No, you're absolutely fine.
Have some minstrels.
Honestly, it happened last Zoom as well. I get frightened out of my skin, but then I'm easy to scare because everyone in the house thinks it's hilarious that actually, you're lucky I didn't swear, to be honest with you, because they all try and frighten me constantly because of my reactions. Generally, I do this with my hands. I go, woo! And they all find it very amusing. Right, so other side, all pivot, up to you. I tell you what's really annoying though is that David doesn't scare easily, so he'll frighten me and I'll literally that's the sort of noise I make, and I'll try and return the favor, and he just looks at me like, what are you doing? Right, fine. I go, fine, whatever. But one time I see, the problem was I did manage to scare him one time, but he thought I was a burglar and he tried to punch me. He didn't try and punch me, but his fist went up as if he was going to protect himself, and he realised it was me. I said to him, but why would a burglar be here when you've been here all day? Like, where's your logic? He's like, well, don't do it. So I learned my lesson. I'm not going to try and frighten him again. Although I have to say, if there was an actual burglar, he would be useless, because the other night, I may or may not have told you, I thought Jaden was a burglar, but he was actually just outside doing the bins at midnight. But I was telling David, there's someone down the passageway with a torch. And I'm thinking they're trying to get into the shed or anything like that. David, and he's going, David, there's someone with a torch. I said, for God's sake, you're useless. And I leant out the window, and whose head should appear around the corner but Jaden's head. I went, what on earth are you doing? When I'm doing the bins, so I don't have to get up early because that's his job. I said, yeah, but it's midnight. Well, yeah, I just thought I'd get it done. Okay. All right, my lovely child, that's absolutely fine. Right, this is the main panel. So my butterflies, my orange, and I'm doing exactly the same again. Popping the two together. Now, I'm just lining this up. Here's now we want to sort the flap. So grab your flap piece, which is the long piece, the long thin piece. And you can trim off the corners that you've, not trim off the corners. That's a bit dramatic, but trim, there we go, trim across the two corners. So you've got an open edge, don't worry about that corner, but this corner that your stitching meets, you can trim off that corner, and then you can do the same on the other one. You can trim this back if you want to more, but I don't think there's really any need. And then we're going to turn this round so it's right side out. Can you hear the birds? Get my pokey tool right in the corner. There we go. On the other side. And I'm going to give that a press so that sits nicely. Where's my smaller mat? Yeah. Ooh. So I'm just going to give that a press. And I'll talk to you about that. So where I've cut the Deckerville back by 1/4 inch, you can see now that sits, that top edge where it's been stitched sits beautifully. Whereas if that Deckerville was the same size, it would definitely stick up past one edge. So press this. Oh, I turned my iron off. I was thinking it's not pressing very well. You can, if you want to, you can top stitch this piece. You can top stitch it now, or you can top stitch it when it's attached to your main panel. Or you don't have to top stitch it at all. I didn't top stitch this one. So this one I didn't top stitch, but I did top stitch this one. So it's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to you. We'll top stitch it so that if anyone is stitching along and wants to top stitch it, you don't get, you're not left behind. So I'll just give this another press now. My iron's nice and warm. And I will top stitch this piece now. So tidy up a little. I'm not going to bother changing my thread. I'm just going to use my white thread. If you want to change your thread for your pieces, then please go ahead and do so. But I'm going to stitch about 1/4 inch. You could do a fancy stitch if you wanted to. That could look really nice. But I'm not going to do anything about this raw edge. This raw edge stays. It's just these 3 enclosed seams that I'm going to top stitch. So up, down the other side. Looks fairly okay. Now I've said that, I've gone really wonky, but I'm sure I can forgive myself. Yeah. Looks like I'm going to replace my thread. So there's my flap. Looking pretty nice, looking pretty nice. We don't need to add on any of the poppers or anything at this point. We can just leave it as is. And then we bring in our main panel piece. Now, if you're using this, if you've cut a flap and you're using the same fabric, you'll want to put the same fabric together. So if this was butterflies, this side would go against the butterflies. Obviously, with it being fat quarters, I'm not sure that you've done that. You may have done. So all I'm going to do is pop my flap between my 2 layers, and I'm just lining it up at the top. And I've been a little bit scant with my seams, to be honest. So it's not quite sitting where it should, but it will be absolutely fine. So I'm making sure, you can't see that. I'm making sure that my flap, now you could get the center by folding your flap, doing a little finger press, and then doing the same with your lining fabric, doing a little finger press. I heard the front door go then. That's it. And then lining up those 2 marks, those 2 press lines. And then you've got your flap directly in the center of your panel. So what you're going to do is pop your outer fabric on top, like that. I can't actually see. And now I'm going to have to stand up for a second. Oh, I haven't stood up for ages. No, I'm not. I'm leaning over. We're fine. I'm lining up that top edge. And then I'm popping my pins in. And I'm just joining the flap to the main panels. Okay. And the rest of the fabric there. Now, of course, we're going to have to turn this through. We don't want to leave a turning gap along the top edge here where we've inserted our flap. We don't want to have it there. To be honest, we don't really want it on this edge because this edge is going to be the one that goes up to the top, and we don't really want our turning gap there. So it's a good idea to have it at the side. Either one of the sides doesn't really matter, but that's where I would recommend that you would leave a gap for turning. Again, this is a fairly big piece. So 1, 2, 3, 4, a good 5-inch turning gap, to be perfectly honest with you. I've only pinned the top edge. The rest I haven't even touched yet. So I'm going to stitch this into place and then I'll deal with the other sides. So all of this is done with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I mean, you can do a 1/2 inch seam allowance if you want, as long as you do it throughout the whole thing. So join those, that flap. Oh, my own arm got in my way. So that's the top section attached. And then we just want to line up the rest of the fabric. Move that mat out of the way, there we go. And I'll pop my pins in. Is that you, Lily? Yeah. Who's messaging you? Megan? No. Stephanie. Stephanie. Need to put some weight in my pin cushion. I'll just take out my I'm going to put a fair few pins in here just to make sure it keeps it nice. So Lily was due to have a sleepover and one of her friend's sisters got COVID. So we had to move it, haven't we, Lils? To the end of August now, because all her friends are actually all going on holiday at different times throughout the month. So yeah, she got COVID. So we can't, they've all got to isolate. Rightio. So I'm actually going to draw myself a little prompt to leave a gap, because I know I won't, and I'll just stitch it and then I'll get across with myself. So I've pinned this really well, so I'm just going to start from the top. Now, if you're like me and you've not done a very generous seam allowance for your flap, obviously you don't want to catch the flap in the sides. You absolutely don't want to catch the flap. Oh, Lils, you okay? Yeah. You don't want to catch the flap in these long edges. So if I was you, I would just feel what excess you've got and just go, you know, fairly as close to the edge as you can do, because we don't want to catch that flap, because otherwise it won't be a flap. It will just be, it will be a pocket. It'll be a pocket on the back. So don't catch it in the edge. I've got myself attached to my pin. There we go. Down this edge. Actually could do a change of my needle again.
Abigail, have you just gone over your marks to your opening gap?
Oh no, that's the other side.
Oh, that's right. I thought.
Oh yeah, I did think it myself. I thought, oh, have I done that? But no, it was the other side. I quickly looked as I was going. No, it's the other side.
No, you're right.
You all know what I'm like, so it wouldn't be, you know, anything unusual for me to have done that. Right, round the base. I should have done bigger marks, shouldn't I? Really.
It just looked like it. Now I see him, it looks like a pin.
Yeah, well, I thought the exact same thing. So no, you. I did. That's why I've probably gone a bit wonky on one of the edges, because I was looking across like, what have I just done what I think I've just done? No, we're okay. Right, I'm coming up to it now.
That's all right then, leave it open, we'll be good.
I can see it. There we go. Right, move along. Little back stitch. Now I'm just feeling for that flap. Just going to take out that pin and get those two sides together. You could fold your flap away underneath. You could just take the flap, so you can see it. No, I don't know if you can even see the flap is in here. You could literally just fold it away, so you definitely wouldn't catch it, and then stitch up the edge. So I'm just going right to the end. Right. Take out my pins. I used to hate pins, you know. I used to absolutely hate pins. Now I pin everything inside. If it's moving, I'm pinning it. I don't know why. I don't know what changed. But yeah, I love pins now. Right, so I'm going to trim my corners again, exactly as I did with the flat piece. I'm just going to trim these corners away. Just makes for a nicer corner. A little bit more fabric there than I assumed. There we go. Poking tool at the ready, and I'm going to turn this through. So hopefully if I've attached the Decaville okay, it should stay on. If not, it won't matter. I can pull it through and then just give it another press. Which I think is probably what's going to happen anyway. I'll just wrangle with this for a second. If you happen to be looking after younger people over the summer, or if you've got kids, I highly recommend the film Luca. Seb said to me that I needed to watch Luca. It's a cartoon about a boy that's a sea monster. It's very good. Actually, it's so good that I had to stop watching it. Why did I have to stop watching it? Was it for the supporters live? I think it was for the supporters live. And I said to him today, oh, Seb, I didn't get to finish watching Luca. Should we watch it? He was like, yeah. Because I've only seen it 3 times now, but yeah. Right, I'm just going to poke my corners out. There we go. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby at all. Get my pressing mat. I'm just going to give this a nice press. Now, your turning gap, you can do whatever you like. You can top stitch around the whole of the outside edge. You can use glue. You could use some quilter's tape. You could hand stitch it. I'm probably going to use some glue because we've got the fast tacky glue, so I'm just getting it. Oh, there we go. Oh, I've just found my little tool. We've got the. If you were in the club last month, this fast tacky glue is just beyond brilliant. I'm really impressed with it. But of course, you can stitch this. 100% you can stitch this. So all I'm doing is pulling that turning gap fairly taut, folding it in, pulling it taut, and then I'm going to press it. And then I shall just pop a little bit of glue in there. I'm saying things and I'm not even doing it. Like I'm not pulling it taut. I'm letting go of it. Right. Okay, there we go. Pulling it taut-ish. No, come on, come on. Don't mess me around. You'll never believe this, right? So we went to, you know, when I found that vintage sewing machine. Well, we went to the same Carbu sale up the road from us on Sunday, and there was another seller with another sewing machine. It was in very bad condition. So I did go up to it and have a look at it, but it was pretty bad condition. But I couldn't believe it. What are the chances? Right, tiny bit of glue in there, or you can hand stitch, top stitch it closed, whatever you like. But I just think this glue is pretty good. So I'll just leave that to set a minute and I'll give this a nice press. I like those 2 fabrics together, and then look at those 2 fabrics together. Wowzers. I like that very much. So you do, when you turn through and your Decaville creases, you will have to just give your fabric a press. Oh, that is lovely. Lovely colours. I don't know why, but that it was really is aesthetically pleasing me. That join there. It's nice. Right. So we've done that edge. So actually you can have a look what your piece will look like. You can fold up that edge, fold over that edge, and it will end up like that. Well, mine will anyway. Or you could have it the other way. You could have the orange on the outside. That would look really nice. Oh gosh, that does look nice. So you can have the orange on the outside. I mean, you know, right, I can't make a decision. I'm having the butterflies on the outside. Right, so put that to one side. Oh dear me, isn't that terrible? I can't make my mind up. Right, we're moving on to our concertina pieces. Now, because this is H250, you don't necessarily need to trim off the corners. They're still going to be fairly decent corners, but you can if you want to. So I will do. Just trim them a little bit closer. And then we're just going to turn these through like we did the main panel. So you can see we're now building up our collection of paper. I still haven't gone back to my little origami bowl, the heart. I need to still mess about with that a bit more to get that how I want it. But yeah, I've had a little bit of a spark of interest of, I don't know if you've seen it, it's down here, I'll show you. Oh, so it's a heart bowl, and that's just made with fabric folded. I did top stitch it, but I'm just trying new things, you know, seeing what works, what doesn't work, what I like, what I don't like. I used to do a lot of origami as a kid. One that springs to mind is a strawberry, and you made up the strawberry, and it was very, very flat, and then you blew into it and it expanded, and it looked just lovely. I mean, I wasn't an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I did just enjoy doing it. It was fairly mindful. And I was not a very mindful child, so it must have I must have enjoyed it. Very much out on my bicycle, running riot. I know you don't believe it, do you? What has happened in here is my H250 hasn't been stuck down very well in this corner, so I'm just flattening it out. There we go, that's better. So that's one of them. Give it a press. And then I'm going to do the same with the turning gap. So poking my fingers in, folding over that edge, pulling it out and pressing it. There you go. I'll glue that one down in a second and then turn this one through. Yep, I did leave a turning gap. All right, Lils. Yeah. Have you had a shower? You're just hair sweat from the pool. Lily's got really thick hair, so it does not dry naturally very quickly. I have to get the hairdryer on it. Oh, you're going to go for a shower. So then you're going to let me hairdry your hair? Maybe. Lily hates her hair being dried.
It's just fun.
Huh?
Because you just sat there for
yeah, but I do it for you, so it's not as even if you've got to do anything. And your hair's a lot shorter than it was, so it's not as time consuming. Right. When I was a kid, I had hair down to my bottom when I was in year 6, and then just before secondary school, I had it cut up to my chin. It was very drastic. Yeah, it was very drastic. It was a lot of hair. What you know, now if you have that much hair, you can donate it to places, but we didn't have that when I was a kid. Well, you might have done, but we didn't know about it. Right, just going to glue this gap, just a small bit. You don't need loads. I remember once Grandma cut me a fringe and I was so upset I tried to glue it back on again. Like, why would she cut me a fringe, Lily? I know I've got a big forehead, but I can't have a fringe. I don't like hair in my face at all. Oh, I do have a fairly large forehead. It's all the brains though, Lils, that's what it is, all the brains. I probably told you this all before, but my grandma used to have Christmas in August because she couldn't get all the family together for actual Christmas because there's so many. And so she used to do Christmas in August. And this one particular Christmas in August, a relative that I hadn't seen for a little while said to me, well, you are well known for having big-headed children. Big head, as in the size of their head, not their attitude. So I hasten to add. Can you believe it? Big-headed children. Unbelievable. Right, move on to the panel. Same again, same again. Big-headed children. It's Jaden's hands now that interest me because they're like these massive paddles. They're huge. And he was trying to get on a lilo earlier on the paddling pool and he said to me, oh, because I hate now that I'm big, I can't do anything. I said, no, you can get on a lilo, darling, you're just not doing it properly. And because he's only 14, he still feels small, but he's not. He's absolutely massive. Well, in my opinion, he's absolutely massive. According to Lily, he's not actually one of the tallest in his school. He's just average. But to me, he's massive. Just average. Can't believe it. But then you'd have to think most of his friends are a lot older than him because he's August 27th, his birthday. So he's, 3 days later, he'd be in the year below. So maybe he's still having a growth spurt. I don't know. Oops. It was funny because when he started nursery, he got pally with this little boy called Leo. And Leo was born on the 2nd of September. So he didn't go with Jaden to school. He stayed at nursery for a whole nother year, which was really crazy when you think about it. I think Jaden could have done with staying at nursery for another year. He liked it a lot. He really did. Lily liked nursery so much when we picked Jaden up. She wasn't due to start until she was 2 3/4, as was the rule. But when she got to 2 1/2, they rang and said there was a space available. And did I want to send Lily? Because frankly, they know she's desperate to come and they were happy to take her. I said, oh, that'd be lovely. Off she went. And she didn't start small. She went 5 days a week, 9 till 3:30, because you couldn't get her away from the place. She loved all the teachers. She loved all the things they did. And she just wanted to be in nursery. So, I mean, I did work full time. So that was one of the reasons why she went. But, David worked at home, so she could have stayed at home. But she was just desperate to go to nursery. So they let her go early. She'd get so upset when we had to leave Jaden. She wanted to stay. She wanted to be there. So she managed to convince them that that was what she needed to do. Funny. Right. These are the last ones. So I'm just pressing them. Imagine the time's really getting on. I've literally got no idea what time it is. It's 9 o'clock, nearly. Honestly, we're nearly done. Once we get to this point, we're nearly done. So I'm folding in my my turning gap again. I'm not doing a very good job of it. I'm all fingers and thumbs. David said to me, how long are you going to be on your Zoom for? 3 hours? I went, no, not 3 hours. He said, well, how long? I said, why? He said, well, I just want to know. I said, well, I don't ask you for a time you come home from work. He went, well, I'll be honest with you, there's a film I want to watch, and I know you don't want to watch it, so I might as well watch it while you're on your Zoom. Right, I see. He likes all like war documentaries and, you know, stuff like that. So actually, it's quite a good time for him to sit and watch his program. It keeps him happy. He must despair with me though, because I sent him the link to the Thames Kids Cruise thing. I said, just so you know, I've booked this for this date and I've booked the car park and you're driving, this, that and the other. And he just absolutely must despair. He's thinking, I thought I was having a lovely weekend at home, but no, she's got me signed up for all this stuff, which is very true. Oh, I didn't glue those down. The thing is, some holidays he does get a bit sad that he misses out on the days out that we do in the week. So what I'm trying to do is organise something for the weekend and then something for the week. Because, you know, memories and all that. Right, that's that turning gap done. And this one. Oh, I've gone over the edge with my glue. This is fabulous glue. If you weren't a member last month and you're interested, it's the fast and tacky glue from Hemline. Again, I've got loads of this, but it's going to go on the website at some point, or feel free to find it online. But it's very good, very good. There we go. It's for fabric. It's for fabric. It's for general household fabric and craft projects. It's got twin applicators, so this end is a really big, you know, Lord knows what you'd be gluing, I don't know, but it's got a big end, and then you've got the small end. Very useful, very useful indeed. In fact, I FaceTimed Mum the other day and she was using it and I said, oh, I see, very good, that makes me happy. You're obviously enjoying it. Right, so we've got all of our pieces. We've got our main panel. We've got our, what did I call them? Panel inserts. I don't know which way I'm going to have them round yet. And then we've got our concertinas that aren't concertinas yet. So where's the back? Here it is. We're going to make this piece, okay? So if I open it up, I just got to remember how many I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's roughly an inch, give or take, dependent on seam allowances and things. But the edge that you've done your turning gap on is your bottom edge. So it's the shorter edge is at the, did I say the shorter edge at the base? Hold on. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a quarter. Yeah, the short edge is at the base. So you're going to fold over your fabric. I'm not talking sense. Turning gap at the bottom here, which isn't, it should now be your 8-inch edge. Okay, you're going to fold over this fabric in a concertina fashion. So we're going to take one end, fold it. Now I'm using my mat here as a guide, so I do have it lined up in a grid. So the corner here is sitting on a grid. I'm going to take one side and fold it over an inch. And what I want is this to be an inch, this piece of fabric, this fold. And then I'm going to flip it over and fold it again. Flip it over, fold it again. And honestly, truly, it doesn't need to be the most precise measuring you've ever done. Honestly, it's because it will all come together. I'll do it again on the other one, but what I'm going to do is press this so that those lines stay in place. So I'm just going to go over it one side. I've totally moved it. One side like that. I've got the heat fairly high, and then go over the other side like that. Doesn't matter so much at the ends, but you're just looking to pop the creases in of these pieces. So just pop them in. And then you can use a quilting clip to just hold them together while you do the other one. So I say that, but of course I never have quilting clips. I even put them on the side. Oh, I do. Haha, I found two. So I'm just going to pop a quilting clip on that one, and we'll do the same again. So I'll move my mat. So we've got the 8-inch edge, and we've got the open flap, the turning gap at the bottom. So your concertinas are going across the turning gap rather than the turning gap being in one of the concertina pieces. So again, we're going to turn over by 1 inch. My interfacing, I don't know if you can see that, but I folded it somehow over. So this bit has 0 interfacing. You can see, look, that's got no interface. I thought that's very odd, but that's absolutely fine. It's just very floppy. Oh dear. So there's one. Then when I flip it over this way, I'm still using the lines on my mat to fold over by 1 inch. Oh dear me. I can't feel where it's thicker elsewhere. Oh, I suppose I can there. Oh yeah, I definitely can there. Right. Keep going. That's made me laugh. This one I folded in a really dodgy fashion because I was obviously not concentrating. So let's just do that again. Oh dear. That's better. Okay. So normally on a Zoom, I'll show you what colour the next box is. And I do have the next box colour to hand, and I'll show you that. This is very dodgy folding, I have to say. No, it's right there. I'm going to just undo this one again. So interfacing is putting me off. Right, yes, I do have the other colour, and I shall do a little giveaway at the end for having the patience of saints for joining me. Problem is on the Zoom, I'm very aware that people are stitching along. I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to go too slow. It's like a, you know, Lily, do you want to close that blind, sweetheart? I always think the neighbours must, because it sort of illuminates me, all the lights that I have on, they must look at like, what is she up to? So press that side, press this side. Yeah, lovely, perfect. Well done, Nils. And I'll just go in and press these layers. That side. And this side. Good. I'm just going to clip that. Perfect. So we've got our 2 concertina pieces. Now where's the back? Here. So you can see on the outside, the concertina goes edge to edge. It's very, you know, it's very straight, goes edge to edge. So what we need to do is we'll take one of our concertina pieces, and we want to have it so the flap, so the start of the concertina, hopefully it's I don't know if it's the right way around for you. This is pointing to my left. It's not pointing out, it's pointing in. Okay, in. So imagine you've got another one there. This is the way this goes in. Okay, so that's the first one. So you're just going to leave that as is. And then your second piece, this flap here. So this is your start of your concertina. Leave that one be. bring the next piece down, and then where you've got your crease between these two is where you're going to pop one of your panels. Now what you want to do is have your turning gap bit at the bottom here. So whichever way round you're having it, I'm just going to do it this way. Am I? No, I'm doing it this way. You want your turning gap at the bottom because you'll never see that. Okay, you'll never see it. So you're going to butt that right against that concertina, and you're going to fold that other concertina piece down. All right. Then you're going to, I'm going to do this 4 times. So please don't worry. You're going to open it up and just clip it. Okay, so we've clipped that one now into place, or just that first layer, that second layer. Then we're going to open up the next layer and pop our next piece in. So that goes right, butts up right into that fold. Bring it over, and then you can clip that one into position. I'm not doing it 4 times, I'm doing it twice. But I don't know what plant I'm on, twice. So then you can see how that's now your concertina. Yeah. So I'll do it on the other side. I don't have any more quilting clips, so I'll have to pin it. I've got 2 quilting clips to my name. Isn't that just unbelievable? Especially when I've got to press a button. Hopefully I'm still there. Lily, we need to plug the charger in, darling. Can you do that for me? Hold on, I'll plug it in this end. Bear with me, everybody, a second. There we go. Oh, careful, careful. Sorry, it's all right. You've just unplugged my light. You plunged me into darkness.
Sorry.
Just move that cable, or you're not going to get it in.
Okay.
Just underneath the plug. There we go. Oh, hold on, Lils. There we go. Yeah, just stick it on there. Oh, sorry, everyone. There we go. Okay, that'll be fine.
Is this like?
Hold on, let me just move this over slightly. There you go. No, that's fine, Lils. Lils. Oh, hold on. Right. Sorry, everyone. We had a 10% battery warning. Right, so it's the same again. So we want the bottom flap to be going into our panel. In. We don't want it out, we want it in. So we start with that one. We ignore the next bit and we pop our piece in this one. Now, don't forget, you've got this on catch up. Fold it back over and then pin those layers together. Oh, it's quite thick with a pin. I would recommend a quilting clip. Pop the concertina back as it is, and then open up the next section with that fold that goes out, and pop your next layer in. Right, butt it right up against that folded edge, and then clip it. Don't bother using pins, just go for the clips. I know you've got them. I gave thousands of clips away on that sale, and I did keep a pack for myself, but I just don't, what happens to them? I think they get eaten. Right, so now we're going to stitch these. So what we do is we just top stitch down that folded edge, okay? So of the concertina, we just top stitch this folded edge and then the second folded edge, which means those 2 panels then stay in that edge, and we're doing 1/4 of an inch, so that is a lot of fabric at the top there. So if you need to start just 1/4 an inch further down, then please do. It's not going to affect it in any way. It's not going to make it not be a folder anymore. Truly, you can start 1/4 an inch down if you want to, because that's a lot of fabric. So I'll just bring in the machine, and I'm just pulling this the second one over, and I'm just then doing this one first. There we go. And I will just make sure that's lined up all the way along the edge. And my machine saying, no, yeah, you're fine. 1/4 of an inch. Take out my clip. All the way down. There's that one. That's stitched, and then I'm going to do the same with the second one. So I'm working just on the same side. 1/4 an inch, make sure it just butted up nicely. There we go. And I'm just taking the clip off and making sure that's right in that fold. Keeping an eye on me. I've now got an extension lead here that I don't want to knock over. So then we've got 2 panels securely fastened in our concertina, and then we go to the other side. Start with the bottom one. This pin is just absolutely pointless. Make sure that's butted up against it and stitch it into place. It's hilarious because earlier it wouldn't stitch so close to the edge. Maybe it's because I was using wadding. I suspect that's why. I didn't use wadding on these pieces. Of course I didn't. I don't know. So we've done that one. Then we move to the second one. Tucking this other one out of the way. And making sure that's nicely in the fold. Take that pin out. And popping it right in that crease. The machine. Right, now comes the part where we put it all together. So what I want you to do is get your main panel and press. So bring up your outer panel to that edge of where you've got the flap, and I just want you to press that bottom edge because that's going to be your guide of how low things are. And it just makes it sit nice. You could actually top stitch along there if you want to. It's up to you. So now you've got 2 ways that you can do this. Make sure whatever you do that your turning gaps are at the bottom. Which way am I going to have it? This way, I think. No, yes, I did have it that way. So keep your concertinas as they should be. So put them back to being a concertina on both sides. There we go, concertina. So this flap here, this bottom flap here, you want this folded edge to go against the edge of your piece, and you want this edge to just be slightly down from where your flap begins. Now you can do it this way. Now I'm going to clip this on so you can see both. So I'm just popping it over this side, just not the neatest. So you can have it like that, and what that does is that gives you some fabric here, which is a little bit of excess, but I like the fact that I'm stitching that down. I've got that fabric there. What you can do if you want to is take it and fold it out like this. So you've got a small little concertina at the back. I truly don't think that's necessary. I think doing it this way, I prefer. But if you want to fold it out again, get another cheeky little concertina there, then you can do. But I like it like this. I could have had a folded edge here, but with that folded edge, I would have also had a seam, which would have given me more bulk. So it's a lot easier to do it this way than to have my panel piece end here and to join them together. It's a lot more of a neater finish. So what I'm going to do is stitch that. So I'll just tell you where I popped it again. It's just only ever so slightly down from where the flap starts. You can see less than 1/4 inch. And then I'm lining that across the other side. I haven't at all, it's completely different, but you would be lining that up to the other side. And then we're going to open this out and we're going to stitch all the way down top to bottom. All right, you can do a back stitch at the start if you want to, or you can do like a stop start stitch. I'll just do a little back stitch. And I'm using 1/4 inch still. Move that quilting clip, and I'm just popping this on this side. Now, now what you need to do is stop. When I said all the way down to the bottom, that was not correct. You want to stop about 1 inch from the bottom and do your back stitch. Okay, so about 1 inch from the bottom, so you've got this excess here. I'll move it over and do the other side. I'm going to start from this bottom edge, so I just need to line up this top edge with the other side. That's about right. And pop my clip in. There we go. And I'm going to start 1 inch up because this is the base end. And get it under my machine. There we go. About 1 inch up. And then stitch that down. Move all the other pieces of fabric out of the way. There we go. To the top. Do a back stitch. Now you can trim your threads as you go. I'm not trimming any threads. You know, I'm not going to waste your time with me trimming my threads. So we've now got the panel attached to the back of the bag, back of the folder. We've got it attached there, and you've got your concertina pieces. Now, of course, now we need to attach it to this piece. So keep your pieces as they are as a concertina and lay over your top piece, and you want to lay this flush with the back panel. So not with these that are just your inserts that are just, it's so wonky, that are just slightly down from the panel. We want to lay this so it is flush along the top with the panel. Okay, then we're going to take these sides and line up those sides, and we're going to stitch. Now remember, on the back piece we left 1 inch, didn't we? Now the reason why we do that is because with this one we are not going to be able to stitch right to the end because we've got this fabric and we've got this fabric. You can't do it. So what you do is you stop 1 inch to this end as well, so that then it's the same on both sides. So we're going to stitch all the way down here, and we're going to stop 1 inch from the end. Again, you can do a back stitch, start, stop stitch, whatever takes your fancy. But we can start right at the top, take it all over. There we go. Just do a little back stitch. And we are going to stitch this edge. And I'm just going to keep as much as I can there, and I'm going to then stop 1 inch from the end. I'm just to make sure that none of my other concertina pieces are in the way. I'm pushing them out of the way with my finger. And I'm going to stop 1 inch before the end. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. This time I'm going to start 1 inch up because I'm starting on because I'm right-handed and I like to have it that way. So I'm just lining that up, and I'm going to take it to the machine. It's a bit trickier to do this side. I mean, you could do it the other way around if you want to, but I'm just going to start from there and see how that looks. Keep my other pieces lined up. Start, stop. Back stitch, whatever. Okay. I'll trim those threads off now though. Problem is I alerted myself to the threads, and that's why now I've got to cut them. Yeah. On the other side, which isn't, they're not too bad. I mean, these are pretty atrocious up here, but nothing that a little snip won't cure. Get rid of them. That'll do, she says as she carries on snipping. That'll do. Stop snipping now. Okay, I will. There you go. Right, so now we've got our folder. So we've got without the threads, our concertina folder. Okay, so now we're doing the poppers, and my little popper tool is actually under the table, so I'll have to use the seam ripper. So, where's my ruler? We want to measure 2 inches down on the main panel piece. Heat erasable pen. 2 inches down. Now I believe it's 4 inches in. It is. So 2 inches down from the top of the front piece. So this is the flap that goes over. So we're doing this piece first. You want to measure 2 inches down and then 4 inches in from each side. So that'll be where your first popper will go. And then so that on the other side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where my first popper will go. And then of course we want another popper so that we can expand this file up. So we want to measure, I mean, an inch is fine, 1.5 inches. If you want to do 1.5 inches, I'll go for 1.5 inches. So all I'm doing is using my ruler, measuring up 1.5 inches, and I'm popping that mark there. I'll pop those ones in first, and then I'll do the ones on the flap. So remember that these are the same. You want 4 the same. So if you've got your 4 sticky up bits, the technical term, and then you want your 4 innies. You don't want, they all need to be the same. So we're so used to using, you know, different parts. When you have 4 that are going to be the same, it gets a bit like, what? So I've got my pieces all the same. Doesn't matter if it's the innie or the outie, that's not the same. Let's get rid of that. Let's get a piece that's actually right. There we go. Is that right? Yes. If you've got a little tool, you can make your little hole in there, but it's down on the floor and I can't be bothered to get it. So I'm just going to use my quick unpick and do a little hole. You've got to be careful if you're doing your quick unpick. You don't want to get carried away. So I'm just piercing through all the layers like that. And then I can pop the end through like that. That's one. And I'll just pop this one through. There's the hole. There we go. I might as well. I won't. I'm coming undone. So then we get our the other half, whatever half it is. Where's my what's it, Lilsy? Your what? My thingamajig. Where your popper thing? Yeah, where have I put it? I was literally only using it this afternoon. So where have I put it? Oh, it's here. Right here.
Abigail, just before you start again, I'm not being rude, it's Sky. I'm going to head off because I'm starting to get tired now. But
okay, darling. All right. Take care of yourself.
And you. Bye-bye.
That's me blowing kisses.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you later, gang. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Bye.
Right, I'm popping that one on. And it will go on. You just have to manipulate the fabric round a little bit. But just make sure you've got it lined up before you put any force on, because otherwise you'll break the popper, and that's just irritating, isn't it? So there's that one. One done. The other side. Pop that on. Fold up that fabric. As I say, it will go. You just got to, as is with these things, you've got to just use a bit of patience and then a bit of strength. So there's those 2, and then the next one, which is here, using your actual tool that's designed to make the holes is much better than doing it the way I'm doing it. But you know, when something's on the floor and you can't be bothered to get it, you just can't be bothered to get it, can you? Right, line this one up. Make sure it's in there. Press it down. And this one. Line it up. Press it down. Okay, and now we need 2 of the other side. So this now is my outie. we got that? Yeah, 2 of those. So this only needs to go in one location, obviously, because you've only got 1 of them, but you still want it to be 4 inches in. So measure from the edge, 4 inches in, which is there. And then I would measure about 1.25 inches up from the flap. So again, 4 inches and then 1.25 inches. And that is where the front flap poppers are going to go. Pop the hole in. Don't get carried away. Put that one in. Just going to turn it around so I can get my tool in there, okay? Oh, nearly. Oh, no, that isn't right. Remember, your popper's got to go on the inside, so your flat piece goes on the outside, like so. And then the other half, zoom it across and press. And this one. Line it up. Press. And there we have our folder. So this one, oh, that's not a very good location. There we go. So there we have our folder. We can have it like that. Oh, thank you. That's me bowing. I'll just move the camera up. Now with those poppers, oh, sorry, very, very close. With those poppers, the first row that I did, I would bring that up 1/2 inch. Bring that up 1/2 inch from what I said. So when we've come, I've gone in 4 inches and then down 2 inches. I would go in 4 inches and then from the top down 1.5 inches. So just make a note of that, down 1.5 inches. But if I pop those on there, there's our folder.
Abby?
Yes.
Hi. When you did the first lot of markings, you used the width of the ruler. Is the ruler 2 inches wide or 2.5 inches wide?
Yes, this ruler is 2.5 inches wide.
That's why you've got it. That's why it's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Never mind. We all do it.
I would still go 1.5 inches because when I pop those down there, I think 1.5 inches is about right. So the first one 1.5 inches and then come up about 1 inch. That's what I would say. But there we go. So there's the folder that we're going to put our Making It Monday patterns in. We're going to put our, you know, also. Oh, look at Leslie. Oh, look, Holly's done hers as well. Look at that. My goodness gracious.
I'm going to take it apart and redo it because I didn't get the flap in the centre. And it skewed everything up. So and it's because I was panicking all the time because I didn't have any Decaville light. I only had and cutting it out. But no, I'm quite pleased with that. Could never see how that was going to work. Never going to see how it was going to work, that. But it's so simple, isn't
Gemma
it?
couldn't either. Yeah, Gemma messaged me earlier and she said about the panel. She goes, I can't figure it out. And I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It'll come. I'll try. And then I'm thinking, will it?
Yeah, and the other thing is with the concertina, I'm not quite convinced because they are so close in size, aren't they?
Yes.
I'm not quite convinced that I've got them both the same way round. So I'm going to mark them. But
that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Mark it. Very good. Yes.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
And Gemma's got hers. Look at that. Bootful. Oh, look. That's nice fabric.
Oh, recognise that fabric, Gemma.
Trendy, isn't she? Trendy. Right, I'm going to do a giveaway for everyone that has joined me this evening. I know that was a bit of a marathon one. But hold on. This is what happens now. I don't prepare for the giveaway. I find things. So bear with me. I'm going to have an adventure. Oh, I tell you what, it's a good one. Hold on. Just you wait there. It's a good one. Oh, hold on. Oh, I boxed myself in earlier and I'm just climbing over. Tape measure mug. tape measure mug. This is the prize for today for joining me for the Zoom. I am going to, this is what happens, it's very technical. I'm going to flip through the pages. Lily's going to tell me to stop. On that page, I will go up and down the people, and whoever then she tells me to stop, I'll move it so you definitely can't see, who will receive the tape measure shaped handle mug, which I just love, to be honest. Right. Look away, Lily. I was going to say any time today, Lils, would be absolutely marvellous. Stop. Right, got it. Right, I'm going up and down. You tell me when. I'm sure I look like a lunatic when I do this. Sharon Meredith, it is you. Yay!
Well done,
I
Sharon.
like that reaction. That made me very happy. Sharon, it is you. You are the winner.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome.
Really
we
lovely.
like to do a little giveaway on now. I have a small confession. I haven't posted Debbie's giveaway from last month yet. I think because it offends me so much. I've given Debbie the most wonkiest bottle of Best Press. The label just offends me. I think I've put it somewhere because it offends my eyes so much. So I'll send them both up at the same time.
Thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome. I will upload this. I will try my best to get over to my mum's because she's got super duper broadband. It's just insane. And I'll get it up on Monday for you. And then I'll put the link in the group. So don't wait for an email. I will put the link up in the group. And then if you can save the link, what you can actually do is if you have a YouTube account, you can save it to a playlist. So if you make yourself a playlist, you can add it and then you've got access to it forever and a day. Right, let me just turn my iron off. How wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I very much appreciate you all and for being members of the Fat Quarter Club. And I'm so pleased that you all liked your bonus item in this box. I was very, it was a struggle not to reveal. Really, it was. I kept trying to use it and then I was like, oh no. And then I had to actually take them out of this room and put them in the house so that I didn't do anything with them. And then I had emails from people asking me if I was going to ever stock mini rainbow scissors. And I'm thinking, just hold on, don't go and buy them. Dear me. Oh, box colour. Hold on. Let me get the box colour for next month. Mind your legs, Lils. Riley. There we are. Right. Oh. If you were a member last year, this will give you a good clue to what's inside. Leslie's like, I know. It's bright red. It's a bright red box. I say no more about that. Thank you so much, everybody. I shall end the Zoom there. I hope that you've all, I don't know if the words enjoy yourself with me just talking at you for all this time. I hope you have found this useful. And I'd love to see pictures in Get Some with Abigail, share and chat. Oh, it's so complicated, isn't it? All groups, just groups, everything's a group. Get Some with Abigail, share and chat. I'd love to see pictures of your folders. That would be amazing. And a quilted one is lovely, but don't forget to add the Decaville anyway. Right, everyone, I shall sign off there. Thank you all so much. And I'll see you on the next one. Night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye. I can never figure out how to finish it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Oh, no, I've still not done it. There we go.
Bye.